Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mr. Kev. You're watching Kev Vlogs, episode number Who Really Cares? I am here to talk about something that's kind of close to my heart, which is the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Why I, a musician who has nothing related to films, talking about this particular film, why it's important, why I can relate to it. If you guys don't know, you can watch Zack Snyder's Justice League in India on Book My Show, Hungama and Tata Sky. These are the places I believe, and even Apple TV. I am a fan of DC comics more than I am a fan of Marvel comics. Especially there is this independent styled comic series run by Vertigo, which is again a DC related subsidiary. DC basically acquired this particular comic company and they make nice graphic novels which I really enjoy. There is of course Sandman, there is Preacher, which I love. Now I am a huge fan of the kind of stories that DC tells through their films. I believe they are much more mature and there's a lot of thought put into how they want to build their characters, build their environment or universe. You can see this very clearly when it comes to their animated films. If you haven't watched any of the animated series or the animated films especially by DC, they are some of the best in the world. You cannot find something like that on the Marvel side, and let me tell you, Marvel has been releasing films left, right, front and center in the animated spectrum of things. They still don't match what DC does with their roster of characters. Something like Harley Quinn, which has a light-hearted tone, which basically works like Deadpool. We don't have a Deadpool series, but we have a Harley Quinn series which is comparable to Deadpool. Check out Harley Quinn series. It's really good. Why Warner Brothers took this up is very simple. The trend #release the Snyder Cut was taking over the internet all over the globe. I think a lot of Indians were in support too. I know a few friends of mine who were a huge supporter of this and they kept on pushing now and then every day. Warner Brothers, they shelled out 70 million so that Zack Snyder can see his film through. If you don't know what happened, Zack Snyder lost his daughter and he had to move away from the production. As the story goes, we also hear the speculation is that Zack Snyder was fired and Joss Whedon was brought in. Joss Whedon, if you don't know, is someone who directed the Avengers 1 and 2. I like the Avengers films that he's directed. I am someone who likes Joss Whedon's previous works like Firefly and Serenity, which is really good if you haven't watched it. Of course, Joss Whedon has been under the microscope for various things he's done to his cast and members. He has a questionable working relationship, so there is that side of things too. Whenever it's a comic book film, I know it's a fantasy film that I want to watch in the theaters because the big screen experience is something that I really enjoy. When I watched Justice League film, it was like meh. And to be very honest, I was one of those people who thought the Snyder version won't be any different from Joss Whedon's version because I am one of those people who's a skeptic. I don't like BVS. I love Man of Steel, but I don't like BVS. BVS just felt like a big nothing to me. But at the same time, I was one of those people who kept on saying even if the Snyder Cut comes, it's not going to be any different. It's just going to be the same thing rehashed. To be very honest, it isn't. The film is really good. I am a fan of Zack Snyder as well. I love his 300. I love The Watchmen. He has a director's cut of Watchmen, which I really love. We know there were stories about why he couldn't release the film. He had a fight with Warner Brothers on trying to release the film as it was. The 4-hour film cut into two, first half and the second half, or make a supercut to make it fit into that 2-hour time frame that Warner Brothers stipulated. This can be a problem because as an artist, and I believe Zack Snyder is a visual artist and people who worked on this film are visual artists, had a vision, had entire set of people working towards that vision that just got snatched from them. You must be wondering why I'm talking about Zack Snyder Justice League in this channel where I talk about music and whatnot. There's a very good reason. I can relate to it as an independent artist, and I believe most of us independent artists, be it music, art, be it form of dance or whatever, we don't like to be told what we should be making. If I'm working under a record label, there will be stipulated things that I should follow to ensure that my work is published by this particular record label. Now, on the contrary, I wouldn't like that control. Sometimes it'll put me down, it'll put me off for the fact that I can release only songs or content that is stipulated by the record label. I won't have any creative freedom. I won't have any control of what my art form should speak, how my art form should speak. That's where the independent artists, independent filmmakers come into perspective, where they get the artistic freedom, and that's what I believe this film brings in. Zack Snyder, I believe, gets the artistic freedom to do what he wants. Don't get me wrong, there are valid criticisms to the film. It is not the best thing in the world, the best film that you can possibly watch in the comic book universe. It's a good film. I enjoyed the entire 4-hour stretch. I loved it. I am a Zack Snyder skeptic. That's where I'm like, yes, Zack Snyder has always been a hit or miss for me, but this one was a full and full hit as far as I'm concerned. I have a strong feeling that something like this will never ever happen again, where an artist is given that freedom in a big budget film or a big budget action-packed storytelling medium. It's never going to happen. It's a movement that really made things happen. On one side, I don't know what to feel like when I watched the film. I had the ups and downs that you go through when you are watching a film. Like, I was emotional, I felt happy, I was sad. At the same time, I enjoyed the action sequences. And it's not black and white, because I believe DC has the higher ground when it comes to the kind of characters that they have. Zack Snyder, even though has very skewed ideas of the characters, I believe he is trying to build a godlike character that is close to human as possible, because that's what DC characters are. Wonder Woman is overpowered, Superman is overpowered, Flash is overpowered, even Aquaman to a great extent is overpowered. The way you can ground them is give them behaviors that human would have. And here in this film, there is in this sequence where Wonder Woman literally turns a person into dust. All that remains of this person is signified by the hat floating down onto a car. You're telling me Wonder Woman kills? Of course, we saw Batman kill in BVS. We see Superman sort of kill in Man of Steel. These are clearly not the black and white characters. These are very grey characters. From what I understand, these are characters that are human. Compare them to any other superhero on your Marvel side. All these characters are superhumanly skilled, and they are overpowered to a great extent, because of which it becomes very difficult to ground these characters. And I think that works for this film. It's A-rated certification, and you see a lot of blood splatter, and even you can feel the weight of these sequences. You can feel that it's serious. Say, for example, you're watching a kidnapping sequence in a Spider-Man film.
My friends are up there! What?
Don't worry, ma'am, everything's gonna be okay.
It isn't serious. You know Spider-Man is going to come and rescue and sort the situation out.
Hey, how you doing? Don't worry about it, I got you.
And it'll be played out as a fun gag.
Yes! Yes! Hey, big guy, quit moving around!
Sorry, sir, so sorry.
More or less, that's what you would see in Marvel films. But over here, it is not a fun gag. It's serious. There is repercussions of what will happen to this particular action. When you're watching the sequence, you are put into that mind state where you're serious. Shit is going to go down. We have to stop it. I'll give Zack Snyder credit for using that as the way he wants to depict his film. Although I'm not a big fan of telling a story like that. These characters, I believe, can be portrayed in a different way, and grayish in a different way as portrayed in the animated films. If you haven't watched any, there is Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns is a great example of something like that. Aspect ratio, there are black bars that you will kind of phase out. It's like that notch on your mobile phone, punch hole or whatever, that you phase out when you're watching a video. Your mind just phases it out and you zone into it. The first 10 minutes it took me off the film, but once I phased into the film, the black bars on the side never mattered to me. This was different. This, you could see more, you could engage more, and I like that. This is unprecedented for what we have been able to experience as fans of movies. I don't know whether there will be other movies done by Zack Snyder. At this point, I think he's more or less done. He's tired. After such a tumultuous relationship with production house like Warner Brothers, I don't think he'll want to come back and do another film or another 2 films. But if the fans really rile up, I think we might get another film or 2, depending on what happens, how the sales of this movie is doing right now. You can go, of course, rent it out or buy the film to support this particular movement, so that maybe we get to see Zack Snyder come back and finish what he had envisioned. I genuinely feel like it was a missed opportunity that Zack Snyder wasn't given what he wanted to do. The 4-hour movie at the theater wouldn't have worked. HBO Max coming into the scene might just be a great thing. The whole reason why we are getting to see Zack Snyder's Justice League, to be very honest, is to sell HBO Max. HBO Max doesn't exist in India. That's why we have it on Hungama and Book My Show and whatnot. It is clearly to bring up the number of people buying into HBO Max, to increase their subscriber base. And I'm glad they did, because I think they will have enough people coming in so that we get the next movie. That's it, guys. I just wanted to speak what I thought. Let me know what you guys thought of the Zack Snyder's Justice League. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can check out some of my other content on YouTube. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell because it's important. Watch the other suggested videos. Don't miss out on them. I make weird videos. Bye bye.